Hello, CIS5, CSC5 students. This is Carl Argila, and the purpose of this video is to walk you through the class website so that you will be familiar with all of the various resources on the class website when we meet face-to-face in the classroom. So I've brought up my Firefox browser. Firefox is the official browser for this class. And I'm going to go to the class website by typing in www.aligra.com. The bottom of the right-hand side, there's a link that says, click here for class website. When you click on that link, notice there is a link for Riverside City College. Click, and click on the appropriate link for your semester. There will be a link for CSC5. Click on that, and you'll be presented with a list of links that I will be going over one by one and explain the contents of. Most of your class resources are available through one of these links. Your other class resource will be Canvas, and we'll be discussing that in another presentation. So let's just go through this from top to bottom. First of all, appendices. I've provided you with a textbook, but the textbook does not include all of the appendices. It includes Appendix A, B, and C. But there are a couple of appendices that we need which are not provided in the book, and so I'm making them available to you on the class website. For example, Appendix D, which is a small tutorial regarding flowcharting. And then there are Appendix N and Appendix O, and these are answers to various exercises and review questions in the book, which will help you for studying and doing your homework and preparing for class. Okay, I'm providing you with a PDF copy of the book. So if you click on C++ book, you'll be presented with a PDF copy of an out-of-print edition of Starting Out with C++ by Tony Gaddis. This is an excellent book which will serve us very well in our class. On the next link, labeled Homework, there are PDF files which identify each of the chapter homework assignments. So, for example, you'll begin doing homework assignments with Chapter 2, and let me rotate clockwise, and these are the key points for homework. You will choose 5 of the 18 programming challenges on pages 81 through 84. For this class, you will be entering your fully documented code on ideone.com. This semester, we will not be using codepad.org. You submit your homework by tweeting the URL for your homework assignment to my Twitter account at Carl Argila, hashtag CSC5. Do not print a copy of the homework assignment to be turned in to class. You will be turning in your homework assignment as a URL link on Canvas. and you should always be prepared to present your code in class as part of a code review. The next link is your first lab, Lab 01. These are the resources which you will require to perform and submit Lab 01, including your instructions. You do not need to worry about Lab 01 at this time. We'll be discussing that in class. You will have ample opportunity to complete the assignment before the due date. By the way, I threw in an additional file over here, which you may or may not find useful. Back in the days when we actually used computer manuals, there was an excellent language tutorial for the C++ programming language created by C++.com. It's an excellent printed summary of the C++ programming language, and you just may find that useful. In fact, it's almost a textbook unto itself, although we have our own textbook. So use that PDF file if you find it valuable. So there are some students who want to take notes during lectures, and I've provided you with the PowerPoint charts that are presented both in class and on your YouTube videos. If you choose, you can print these and you can take handwritten notes. Personally, I do not believe that that is necessary. However, if you find it useful, you have the resources here on the class website. We will be doing 4 projects in class. Those projects instructions are on the class website. For example, Project 1. You do not need to consult these links at this time. We will be reviewing Projects 1 through 4 thoroughly in class before you commence your project. We will not be doing Project 5 in class this semester. By the way, we do document our programs using a very specific format. There's a sample program documentation file that's included on the class website. We will be presenting that and discussing it further in class. However, the most important link on the class website are the files and information which you will require for the first week of class. Week 01. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 PDF files. You need to be familiar with each of these files, and some of them actually need to be printed and available on the first day of class. So I will just go through these from top to bottom, not necessarily in logical order. So, chapter video lectures. You have in-depth video lectures available through 2 sources. The video lectures are keyed to the version of the Gaddis book that you're using in this class. So as you view these video lectures, you can be using the PowerPoint charts that you've seen available on another link. So some students prefer the lectures by Dan Collins. They are all excellent. Some students prefer the lectures by James Camp. They're excellent also. When you click on any one of these links, you'll be transferred to a YouTube video, and you can play the lecture at
Hello,
that
this is
time.
Dr. James Camp from Lee College in Bay.
The next link is your class feedback form. You will need to print probably about 32 copies of this form, because you will be submitting one copy of this form at the end of every class session. This form contains your last name, clearly printed, your first name, clearly printed, your signature, because this form is your official attendance verification for this class, and the date of the class session. On this form, you will identify 5 key points which you learned during that class session. You will also include, optionally, any comments or questions or suggestions. You will also rate that particular day's class session on a scale from 1 to 10. This is not an instructor rating. This is a rating of the overall effectiveness of the class which you just completed. I want to emphasize that having these forms printed and submitting this form at the end of each class session is very important. This class is your official verification of your attendance in class. And as you will know when you read the syllabus, there are certain benefits for students who have perfect attendance. And this is how perfect attendance is determined. A very kind student from another class created flashcards to help you prepare for your quizzes. Students tell me that these flashcards are very, very useful in preparing for your quizzes. So you have them available. You may, I believe, need to register as a Quizlet user. One of the most important files that you have is your class schedule. I adhere to this class schedule religiously. It is very, very rare and will probably not happen this semester that we change any of these dates. So you can plan your studying and other activities in your personal life in accordance with this schedule. There's a student introduction form which you need to have printed and available for the first day of class. You can fill this out. I suggest you fill it out before you come to class, because you will be introducing yourself to your classmates using this form. And by the way, your student introduction is a graded assignment. So fill out the form, be prepared to introduce yourself to your classmates on the first day of class. A very important document is your syllabus. You will be tested on this syllabus during your first week of class. It's called quiz number 0. You see it on the class schedule. So you need to read this syllabus over and be prepared to answer. It's about a 20 to 30 question quiz drawn directly from this syllabus. There are students who are a little bit confused as to how to prepare every week for what we do in class. So I created a weekly preparations guide to give some suggestions to students as to how they might prepare and be successful in this class. So here's your weekly preparations guide. You can follow it, or maybe you can just prepare however you feel comfortable. Saturday and Sunday might be a good time to watch the YouTube videos for the assigned book chapters. You've already seen the links for those. And then do a first pass reading of the chapter in the book. It's always important to be familiar with key concepts and terms. And then at the start of the week, you have your first lecture on a Monday or a Tuesday. Be prepared for in-class discussion based on what you reviewed over the weekend. And then on Tuesday and Wednesday, that's a good time for you to complete your in-depth reading of the assigned chapter and review the study guide. And then on Wednesday or Thursday, you have your second class lecture. By the way, I haven't updated this weekly preparations guide, but your schedule is clear that your chapter quiz will be administered on Monday, not Wednesday, after you've prepared by reading the chapter over the weekend. This assures that students come into class for the first session of the week familiar with the concepts of that particular chapter. Finally, we use Twitter as the tool for communicating important information in this class. And you will also be submitting your homework on Twitter. So it is important that you have a Twitter account. I've already sent out a tweet to you for this particular semester, so you should respond to that tweet. That's how I know you're on Twitter, and I'll give you credit because you are graded for your participation on Twitter. So I will give you credit when I see your tweet. And that, students, is a complete review of the class website. And I look forward to meeting all of you shortly on the first day of class. I can promise you that you will enjoy this course greatly. You'll learn a great deal, and it will be one of the stepping stones for your future career in computer science. Thank you.